Uh, how many of you have visited Abu Dhabi or Dubai, UAE? Not many. I really recommend you should go there. It's like a new world. You know, like I go to Abu Dhabi and Dubai twice a year, and every time I arrive there, I see something amazing and new. To sort of give you a sample of it, first of all, I flew Emirates Airline, not Boeing, Airbus 380. So all the top floor is business class and first class, and the bottom floor is economy. It is the most quiet airplane in the world, the most comfortable I ever been in. That's at least it's good because it was only a 15-hour flight each way. So when I arrived in Dubai, I took the Emirates car to Shangri-La Hotel in Abu Dhabi. And this part of Abu Dhabi has been just built 3 years, 4 years ago. So there was a Fairmont Hotel, Shangri-La, and we had actually the event in Fairmont for 600 people. But if, again, I don't want to advertise for Abu Dhabi, but if you go to this Shangri-La Hotel, I think we do not have a hotel like that in US. The quality, the 5-star it is. And then they also have another hotel in Abu Dhabi called the Palace, is a 7-star hotel. And that one, for sure, we don't have in US. But in spite the glamour and the funding and the money they have, they built this new island in Abu Dhabi. It's called the Free Zone. And one of our partner, it's called Abu Dhabi Global Market. So they decided 3 years ago to have a financial free zone. And they built this island to have it there. They brought the head of Singapore Monetary Authority to run this program. And in 18 months, they have signed up 350 largest financial institution in the world to have an office there. And the reason why I was there, this global market, Abu Dhabi Global Market, said to me, Saeed, we need to energize this building by having plug and play there, working with about 20 to 30 startups per year in a financial world. And quite coincidentally, I think it was October 23rd, which we announced this partnership in Abu Dhabi. I also walked across the street to Cleveland Clinic, Abu Dhabi. By far the best hospital I've been to in my life. I also went to Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland. We have Stanford here. We have UCSF here, which is like a world-renowned hospital. But this Abu Dhabi Cleveland Clinic, I think they spent $1 billion building it, $1.5 billion to be exact. It has 460 beds, 3,000 employees, and 2/3 of the employees are American. The doctors, the specialists. So not too much advertising for UAE, but if you haven't been there, you should go see it. They are, in my opinion, building a new world. And then I want to give you a couple of news. So Cleveland, we announced we will open in January. Abu Dhabi, we will open in March. Tokyo, we have a lot of Japanese guests here. We will open in November 10th. We already have 5 plug-and-play people on the ground in Tokyo. Our partner is I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but it's a real estate company in Tokyo. It's the second largest train station in Tokyo. There is Tokyo Station, and this big station is the real estate, and they own all of the property around the train station. They are right now building 3 high-rises as we are talking. So we have a partnership, a joint venture with them, with Mitsubishi Bank, with Sampo Insurance. In fact, November 10th, we are announcing the opening of Tokyo with 15 corporate partners. Then we're going to relaunch Singapore in January for fintech and insurtech. So a lot of activity is going on. And for some of you that you may not know, we also in the past year opened a second office in Berlin for supply chain and logistics. We opened an office in Munich for retail, technology, and sort of brand and retail division. So we've been kind of busy. But I wanted to share with you a little case study. I have Tyson food here. The people from Tyson. I am really excited that you guys have opened a new lab for innovation, and we hope to really work closely together. But I wanted to use Mercedes as a case study. Mercedes became our partner, I would say, about 5 years ago. They have a Mercedes lab here in Sunnyvale, roughly 350 people. They just celebrated their 20-year anniversary to have the lab here. They are almost working on about 100 R&D projects. That there is like a 10, 15 people engineering team here. There is a team in Stuttgart, and Sajid, head of their development, spends 1 week a month here and 3 weeks in Stuttgart. And quite frankly, to be here 20 years, to work with Google for autonomous driving car and everything is absolutely necessary. But when Mercedes board of directors came to visit us 2 years ago, they say, Said, we have 70,000 engineers. Out of their 270,000 employees, they have 70,000 engineers. And actually, they consider themselves an engineering technology company more than an automotive company. But when they spend 4 hours here, we showed them 3 startups. Before they left, they invested in all 3. And they said, where the tire hits the road, it's here, not in our own lab across the street. Just if I can tell you, R&D is great, technology is great, but we feel the startups build technology at a different speed. Someone described it to me, it's like Mercedes is like an anchor ship sailing, and they do a great job. But the little speedboats sometimes can run circles around this big ship because they are more nimble, they work faster. And to Tyson and most of corporate people, it is an education to learn how to work with the speedboat, how to take their ideas and implement it in a big corporation and bring these fast, smart, intelligent ideas into a big corporation and implement it. And why I use Mercedes as an example, because it is quite hard to implement the technology in a car. Generally, it takes about 4 years after they approve a technology to put it inside the car. And we've been able to do it in Stuttgart in 100 days. 4 years versus 4 months. And we think every one of the corporates here can learn from this best practices of Mercedes and implement it in your company. So if you don't mind, I have an 8 minutes video about the case study of Mercedes. Can we roll that?
Startup Autobahn.
Hello everybody and welcome to Startup Autobahn. Woo-hoo!
Today's event is all about our 20 plus startups that are pitching right now.
Please welcome your host here on stage, the chairman of the board of Daimler AG, Dr. Dieter Zetsche.
Stuttgart is the perfect match, bringing together OEMs in the car industry, suppliers, and universities and schools.
You know, it all started around 2012, actually, when we started working with Mercedes-Benz R&D North America. And, you know, their purpose here in Silicon Valley is really to work on various projects and interact with the Silicon Valley community. We weren't at all replacing what they were doing, but we were really augmenting their activities, giving them exposure to the startups that we were seeing, not only in Silicon Valley, but those that we were importing from Europe, Asia, etc. But they were having some challenges where they would travel to Berlin or to Silicon Valley and they would meet these amazing startups. The problem was they couldn't get their engineers to engage those startups at home in Stuttgart. In companies, most of the business units, most of the people are just focused on the next quarter. And they really fail to think about the bigger picture, the horizon. You can have a CEO that's talking about innovation in a very fluffy, high-level manner. You can have scouts all over the world who are really excited about these startups, but what we've learned is that deals die in the middle. It's really crucial that we have the business units deeply involved in this whole process. And so they commissioned us to come to Stuttgart and create Startup Autobahn.
Never stop challenging. I think that's a good motto for a day like this with Startup Autobahn. So what do we want to do? We want to bundle strengths to reach out and hopefully gain access to the best technologies around the world that we will put into our product and services.
This is a wonderful platform for all creative talents from Germany, Europe, and from all around the world.
We had a fantastic launch. We had 20 startups pitching. We chose 13 of them to go through the first cohort. It's a 3-month cohort where we connect startups with corporations, with investors, with thought leaders, with pitch polishing. The way we measure success is, can we help the startups raise money if they're looking for it? Can we help them secure pilots? And it was incredible. We chose 13 startups. At the time, Daimler was our only partner. And out of those 13 startups, Daimler did 15 pilots. We worked with, I think, 6 or 7 different business units. I've never seen this sort of interaction between the corporates and the startups before.
My name is Ronny Dumian. I'm working for Smart, Vehicle Concept and Innovations.
My name is Dieter Feder and I work for Business Innovation at Daimler AG.
We came across Gauzy just before the start of the Startup Autobahn program, and we took the chance to set up a common project with them.
We had a crazy idea in my department. We looked at, okay, what do we need to get this idea to the next level?
The project was about taking the Gauzy technology and making something more out of it, which could potentially be a use case for our vehicles.
The collaboration with Gauzy was beneficial to this extent that it's very, very fast, not only prototyping, but getting already certain level of technology to the next level, and also providing a little bit of a space for, let's call it, a positive coincidence.
Well, working with startups is certainly extremely agile and dynamic. And what's great about them is that they are focused and very dedicated towards projects and towards their technology.
Sometimes it's just the plausible solution and the speed that helps bringing a large company and a smaller company or startup together.
The conclusion up to now is that it seems to be a promising technology and can really be a customer use case inside our vehicles.
A good experience, and we're actually in the moment of trying to get all the parts through customs and getting them assembled.
Going into the second cohort, we decided to have 3 tracks. We wanted to keep the pilot track. We still wanted some of the startups to have a very clear value proposition so that we could have some quick wins and really engage the business units internally. But we also wanted to engage the university community. And so we had another track that we called the university or the pre-seed stage track. And these startups are more traditionally what you'd expect in an incubator or accelerator. But the problem is they don't have a very clear value proposition. But it was really nice to have them included and to build those relationships with the universities. Because what we find is as we engage those students in those universities, it educates the students that there's another option besides joining Daimler or Bosch upon graduation, that they could actually start a company. The third track that we did was the investment track, and these were for startups that were in our sweet spot. So our average ticket size for investing is about $100,000, euros, etc. And so we wanted to have 3 tracks covering a stage agnostic program. The late stage companies, the middle stage companies for our investment, and the early stage companies to engage the local community and the universities.
Startup Autobahn is not like any other program. They don't just want to show you off, and they don't want to just say we're working with these exciting startups. They actually want to build something. This is an opportunity to genuinely reach the decision makers. So basically my advice for a startup is do it.
In the second batch, we went from 1 partner, Daimler, to 6 partners, including HPE, BASF, and it was phenomenal. We ended up choosing 28 startups that went through the program. Of those 28 startups, we had well over 50 pilots committed by the different partners. And what I loved about it was that if Daimler committed to this many pilots, Porsche had to commit to that many pilots. And there was some competitive friction between the corporate partners. And frankly, they really learned a lot from each other in this whole process. And anything we can do to smooth the ability for corporations to engage startups and speed up that sales cycle, the better.
We started with 4 partners, and now we have an open platform which has 8 partners altogether, and I think it's a very good example for open innovation.
At Porsche, we really love competition, so we think the more partners we have on board, the better it is for the program. So please join Startup Autobahn, we love to have you on board.
An open platform means having more corporates on board, which means having a more attractive program for the startups. And this is what we want, attracting the best startups worldwide to join Startup Autobahn.
So that's the beauty of Startup Autobahn. That's the access to a constant stream of such innovations. And this can really be integrated into our customer solutions. And we are really happy being part of that.
Now, the whole vision for this mobility program and going into this third cohort is not only for startups to engage the local community in Stuttgart, but to also be able to come to Beijing and spend 3 months engaging the Chinese automotive industry, and then come to Silicon Valley and engage all the different partners that we have here. And so we're really building this global mobility network.
It is unbelievable to see this crowd here. Innovation happens everywhere, and if we connect them, it will be a bigger success and a better success. Thank you. Thank you so much, and sorry for some of the people who have seen this video, but I wanted to demonstrate that even the size of a company like Mercedes can work with startup and create value. And they also wanted to change the culture of the Mercedes business units, that they can be more agile, they can be more dynamic and do projects fast. After our expo, which was in February, they asked me, Saeed, you have to come back in 10 days. And I said, you know, this is Stuttgart. This is not like Palo Alto I have to come back to. But they kept insisting, and they chose 30 of their best suppliers in the world in different categories to nominate them, and then choose 10 the best supplier in the world. And quite frankly, I said, if I'm going to win, I'm going to come. If I'm not going to win, it's a long way to Stuttgart. So I arrived there, and to much of my surprise, in a category of supplying innovation and technology, we won over Microsoft. So I can say something, I never would have imagined it. So I went to the guy behind me who won for lighting. It was actually Hella, one of our corporate partners, and then another one was for supplier of logistic. And I said, how long you been supplying Mercedes? He told me 62 years. I said, how many of these awards have you won? He says, this is the first one. So it was actually quite an honor to win Technology or Innovation Supplier of the Year with Mercedes. And that gave us an idea that in each category, which we are here for new material and packaging, we give an award to the supplier that has shown the most agile and the most interest to work with startups, because quite frankly, it's not easy. So Omar, where are you? Can you join me on stage to give the corporate partner that has put the best effort forward in dealing with these crazy startups and actually getting value out of it? And the winner is?
Sherwin-Williams.
Thanks very much. Can you say a few words, and then we would like to make a video afterward?
Yeah, no. So absolutely, thank you very much. This is a great honor. So this has been a good journey for us. Sherwin-Williams has been part of the Plug and Play ecosystem for probably about 6 months now, and it's been a great experience. Some takeaways for us are that I don't think there's any place else we could go where we could have this breadth of technical expertise or knowledge or some of the biggest heavy hitters in all the industries. So this is the place to be if you want to look at innovation. And one of the greatest benefits too is working with all the startups. And I look at where I am in my career and where Sherwin-Williams is, and we're very much in pay it forward mode, right? And if any corporate wants to be successful, or companies want to be successful, we have to reach out and we have to help the startups. So I think Plug and Play is a great facilitator.
Maybe
in that.
1 minute about Sherwin-Williams that they might not know.
Yeah, absolutely. So and I'll be talking in a few minutes to give a little bit more detail, but Sherwin-Williams is right now the #1 largest paint and coatings manufacturer globally, upwards of 15.5 billion sales. Folks may know the stores where you could go and buy architectural paint. So it's great to be a partner with Plug and Play.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Alex. Thank you very much.
So I will turn it back to you. Thank you, everybody.
A great round of applause for Saeed. It's always a pleasure having him on stage and sharing his insights.